Hey everybody, and welcome back to Portugal on KRX, and we are about to unpause the game. An hour and a half in, and we have looked over sort of what's going on internally. We have sort of fixed the economy, temporarily at least. We have looked at our surrounding environment diplomatically. We are going to get the alliance with Castile. We're buttering up with England. We are building a spy network on Granada to prepare for future war against Granada. That's what our 3 diplomats are doing. We can sort of review what's going on a little bit with our country over with this right tab, right? It says that we're recruiting some new regiments. We're building up to our force limit. We have a mission to do that. We're building some more ships. We have a mission to go up to our naval force limit as well. A little bit of unrest in Ceuta, but we've already kind of determined that that's not really going to be too big of a deal. We have a small fleet of light ships that are on the move. Those are going to be exploring the west coast of Africa. We've talked about that as part of a mission, right? We can always go back to our missions and review what's going on here. Here we're exploring the west coast of Africa, building up to our force limit, building up to our naval force limit. We're trying to butter up England, and eventually we'll work on buttering up Castile. That's going to be for working on our trustworthy allies mission there. And it seems like for the most part, we are good to go. We're just sort of posturing for war against Morocco and Granada. It'll be 5 years before the truce with Granada has ended. And I think for the most part, guys, let's unpause the game and kind of feel how this goes. Again, we got a bunch of map mode buttons down here in case we need to see something at a glance. Sort of a reference here. This tab at the right is just referencing what's going on, as we talked about. Bunch of resources up here. Some of these we don't have any context for. We haven't talked about. Some of them we have. We've mentioned a few times. One thing that is going to be happening as we just kind of hang out a little bit is our manpower is going to be going up, right? Our maximum manpower is based on the size of our country and all the modifiers of our country is 19,000. Right now we only have 7,000 people sort of in the bank, right? For if we go to war to be able to replenish our front lines. We have a standing army of 18,000. So it would be really nice if we had 18,000 people to reinforce and back up the 18,000 people on the front lines, right? That makes sense. Anyways, let's let it run here and just kind of hang out for a second. We're on 1 speed, so we're on the slowest speed that we can be on. And 1 speed is very slow, but there we go. Castile has accepted the alliance. So now our diplomat's going to be back in a couple days here. We can figure out what do we want to do with this diplomat. We could be working on Castile and making them extra happy. They're already pretty happy. They're already pretty happy. One thing we can actually do is we could actually build royal marriages. We can build royal marriages with England and Castile. That could be useful. Let's actually go up to speed 2 here, guys, and have it moving a little bit faster here. We're building up a spy network with Granada. We are about to move over to the very first month, and there we go. First month, it looks like it's saying that we do have a cause for war against Morocco. That was a little warning to say that we actually could. We have a Regency Council, right? Remember, we looked at our court a little bit, and because our ruler hasn't actually come of age here, Alfonso here is only 12 years old. 15 years old, we haven't talked about that specifically, but at 15 years old, this person will take their rightful place on the throne, the Regency will step down, and we will be able to declare war at that point. It looks like Castile is actually offering, that banner right there telling us that Castile is actually offering us a royal marriage. We don't even have to send our own diplomat, we'll just do that. We can send a royal marriage request to England, and sort of that'll be a really good way to sort of shore up the alliance. You can see a huge boost here. We're already getting close to that 150 that we need with Castile. So make sure these ships aren't being lazy down here. Make sure they're continually moving along the West African coast. Oh, looks like that was enough to finish the achievement. No, it wasn't. We built up the force limit. Discover any province in the West African coast area. Oh, and have at least 1 colonist. Oh, we don't have a colonist yet. I actually didn't read that, did I? I didn't read that completely. I'm sure someone's yelling at the screen. Let's get these troops set up. Actually, they can't move. The new freshly trained troops cannot move because we haven't paid them anything, right? We're not really paying much of a land force maintenance, right? So we're not really paying anybody. I think it's still, maybe it was actually kind of silly to come down here. I thought we'd be able to complete that mission, but no, we can't complete that mission quite yet. We did finish this mission to build up to our force limit, right? We're up to 18,000 troops now in total. The troops had been built. And this says that it'll give us morale of armies and land maintenance modifier for 25 years. Now I'm going to wait a little bit. I think we should wait until we're about to go to war, because that morale of armies is going to help us quite a bit at war, right? Higher morale of our troops, then the more sort of they're going to stand their ground and fight. Basically, they're going to have more sort of more health, basically, right? They're not going to scatter and desert as quickly. I'm just going to keep kind of exploring down here. Why not? We have actually come to our limit in terms of our supply limit for ships. You can see there's 200 out of 195 supply limit, but we should be able to come down here safely. It just means that our ships are going to start taking a little bit of damage. That'll be okay. That'll be okay. We have a lazy diplomat right there. That is not okay. We could be building up a spy network on Morocco so that we could get claims on Morocco as well as Granada at the same time. We're up to 7.5 spy network on Granada. I do eventually want to get Castile up to 150. Right now they're only at 129, so we're pretty close to that. Did we end up getting the royal marriage on England? Yes, we did. So it says break royal ties. That implies that we have royal ties. Okay. I think this is basically as far as we can go, right? We're starting to... I think we're going to start getting attrition down here. In fact, if we wait 1 month, I think that'll turn... Yeah, there's a little skull down there now. That skull implies that we're going to be getting attrition if we sit here. We're too far away from our territory. We don't have anywhere to resupply there. Let's bring these ships back. Let's bring them back. Bring them back home. I think we wanted to consolidate our troops. What we could do actually is, if we're really posturing for war against Morocco and war against Granada, is we could actually move our troops down to Ceuta so they're kind of ready to go. So they're a little bit more proximal, a little bit closer to the action. Irrelevant of whether we talk about attack Granada or Morocco first. Of course, we're not going to actually be declaring war for about 3 years. It's only been about half a year. We've let the game running. We're running on speed 2. It's going very slow. We've only kind of been going for a short amount of time here. We can take our 10 transports and move them over here. That's what the cogs are, these transport ships here. It's saying that there's an explorer ready. That's because this guy is docked and ready to go, but there's nothing we really want to explore right now. We can't go west. There's nothing to explore to the north, and we know that we're kind of at our supply limit going down and around the coast of Africa. So we're actually going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Instead, what we can do with our light ships, actually, one of the cool things about light ships is they can protect trade. And if we protect trade in Seville, right, that'll increase sort of the amount of money that we could be pulling out of here by giving us more sort of influence over the money that exists here, right? We're only getting a small chunk of this because Castile's getting a lot of it. A lot of it's getting pushed onwards, so on and so forth. But if we watch this here, right now we're making 2.87 here per month. If we get these... oh, we actually got our first event here. But if we actually wait a few days... Here, I'm just going to let this run. We can wait on that event. You have a couple months to answer those events. You don't have to answer them right away. I'm going to wait for it to tick over to June 1st, though, and we can see how this is updated. Boom, we're making 0.2 ducats extra per month because of that move, right? Those ships are really sort of pulling their weight there and protecting trade and giving us quite a bit more influence. Actually, I think it went from 27% to 30%. I mean, the numbers don't matter, right? The point is that by protecting trade, we have more influence over the money that is flowing through the different nodes, whether that's pushing more of it onwards or whether that's collecting more of it where we're collecting it, right? We actually talked a little bit about how we might want to actually spend some time and sort of reallocate our merchants and see if we can just set them up in a more intelligent way. It seems like they're doing a decent job right now, but we could maybe do better. These events, honestly, you can never really do anything terrible. Importing naval supplies. We can just basically, these events are always sort of like an opportunity cost situation, right? You're always giving something up to get something else. Sometimes there's negative modifiers on the choices and things like that. This seems to be all positive. I'm seeing all green stuff. We can make Castile extra happy. We can get some diplomatic power. That's good. We can also just gain mercantilism, which is a stat that is a permanent benefit to our trade power. We haven't talked about mercantilism at all, but mercantilism is something that's very hard to gain. We start with 10% here. It can go up to, I think it can go as high as you want it to go. So that'll push us up to 12%. There's no other real way to improve this. Diplomatic power is very good. We've talked about how that ties into technologies and stuff, but I think we're going to take the rare opportunity to improve our mercantilism, which will buff us up trade-wise, our ability to get the most out of trade for the entirety of the game. I mean, this is going to be something that's going to boost us up forever. Castile, opinions with Castile, that's going to go up anyways, right? We're already, like, Castile loves us, and we're going to continue to make them love us, and we're barely even trying right now, and they love us. So I'm not too worried about getting a little bit of extra relations with Castile. They're already in a good spot here, so we will grab the bottom option to get more mercantilism. Down here, it looks like there's some notifications of England is sending. England received a gift from Austria. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's because it looks like England is at war. War is broken out between France and England. And England is actually being gifted money from Austria and from other people and stuff as people are trying to basically... Looks like the Savoy is actually helping out there. Navarre is actually giving some... Anyway, so we're getting some notifications about other diplomatic things that are going on in Europe. Not a big deal. We really don't need to be paying attention to this. But what's interesting is there is a war right now against England and France. We can go to the diplomatic map mode and click on these countries to kind of see who's at war with who. It looks like England is attacking France, and Brittany is an ally of France. Provence is an ally of France. So those two nations are being called in there. It looks like Lorraine is actually involved in this, and Genoa. So England is sort of going to town against a... We can also hover over this flame right here on one of England's provinces. We click on one of England's provinces. It says they're at war. And we can see they're at war with France, Brittany, Genoa, Provence, and Lorraine. All the people that we sort of manually sort of identified and pieced out by just looking at the map here. It's a little hard to look at it there. I'm just kind of familiar with the countries and where they're located, but that's something you pick up over time. The thing is, though, here's the thing. France, this is a defensive war that France is fighting, and France is going to be able to sort of scoop up a lot of this mainland territory without England. England doesn't have the force limit to land troops on France, and France doesn't have the navy to pick up and land troops on England. So it's going to end up kind of being a little bit of a stalemate with France winning based on sieging down some of the main European-based English land here that historically does go back to France and does sort of historically belong to France as well. In fact, if we click on France here and we go to their diplomatic tab, we can see these are stripy, the green stripes, right? That means that France actually truly believes, and other people agree, that this land belongs to France. This land belongs to France. It's just that England occupies it at the moment. England has claims, though, on sort of the Paris region, so they have a justification to go to war here to grab this land here, but I'd be surprised if England could actually figure this out and get across and win this war. So England's probably going to lose this war. But it's going to be okay because it's meant to happen. It's kind of meant to happen that way. So we have some of our light ships are protecting trade in the Seville node. We talked a little bit about potentially sort of pulling back our merchants. We're only transferring 0.17 to Seville. That's very little. What happens here? Now it says 0.19, 3.8. 3.18. Sorry, I can't even read today. Now, one thing that I usually do with the merchants is... So I just went to the tab. I apologize, guys. I went to the tab. I'm on the trades. I just happened to remember I was on trade. And I'm just checking how much we're making in trade. This is the total income that we're making from trade. All this nonsense, we're making this 3.18. So I'm going to go here, and I'm thinking this guy's really not doing anything. He's not collecting 0.19. He's transferring 0.19, and then when it gets here, we only make a fraction of this. I'm actually wondering if this guy would be better used actually just collecting, directly influencing our power in this node, because we don't actually have a merchant working in Seville, which is kind of weird, right? Because this is where we're naturally collecting it, because our trade capital is in Lisboa, which is part of the Seville node. So we're collecting it automatically from Seville, but we're not really like having anyone here working here. We only have 2 merchants. Let's call this guy back. Let's recall this dude. And it might take a minute or two for him to come back. Looks like he's basically ready to go. No, we're waiting a second. 13 days. Actually, I'm not sure what's going on with him. I think it's taking a second here. Let's see if I can actually go here. Let's click on merchants here. There we go. There we go. So that'll get us our merchants on this tab, and so that we can see when they're available. There we go. He's available now. So let's add him here and see. Okay, our trade is without question, it's gone down. I'm going to wait a month just to make sure that it all kind of like recalculates again. But our trade has definitely gone down, and that's just an experiment, right? I'm not 100% sure how all this works and all this nonsense and stuff, but it looks like this guy working here has not given us a sufficient boost. But I'm going to check next month and just see if maybe it wasn't quite counting him as being in there quite yet. So we're going to wait till October here. Yeah, see, we're actually making more money. We're actually making more money. There you go. So it just hadn't updated yet. So we're making 3.28. It's a very insignificant boost, but it is a boost. It is certainly a boost. We're making about 0.1 extra ducats per month. Hey, everything helps. Everything helps. We're still working on building these ships. It looks like in a few days we'll have another light ship. They can join the fleet of light ships that are protecting trade. So we can have you protect trade in Seville. That'll kind of help balance out the cost of his of the ship's maintenance, right? Of the ship's maintenance. We know we have this mission ready because we built up to our force limit, but we're going to wait till we go to war to click that button just to get those benefits during war. Okay, we have 22 spy network with Granada. I'm going to pause the game really quick, and we can figure out this button now to fabricate claim is now highlighted. So this would be to fabricate a claim on this particular province, right? We could just click on the one that we want, and we can go here and click the fabricate claim. Alternatively, we could go to their diplomacy tab and hit fabricate claim, and this will give us an option of both of their available provinces. This province here is listed at the top, and then we have this province here listed right there. So then we could just select which one we want, and it'll spend 20 spy network to gain us a claim, a cause for war. Okay. And Gibraltar here is going to be very important. Well, one thing we haven't mentioned, actually, see these? It's very hard to see the little dashed lines right here. Let me see if I could show you a better example of these. Some dashed lines right here between these two provinces. That means that land troops can actually walk across there. Now, to walk across here, you have to control both sides of the what's called the strait, right? The strait. You have to control both sides of the where we don't control this. It's controlled by Granada. We only control Ceuta. So Ceuta to Gibraltar is a strait. We only control one side of it. That's okay as long as there are no ships here. If there's enemy ships here, then we cannot cross. If there's enemy ships here, but we control both sides, we can still cross always for free. Basically what I'm saying is Gibraltar is a very important province because if we can control both these pieces, then we'll freely have access down into North Africa regardless of the ships that are posted in the Straits of Gibraltar in this sea tile right here. If we have our own ships here and we control this, we can move across no problem. No problem. So let's get the claims on that. Now we've already got a claim on Granada. And we might want, I don't know, we might want another claim on Granada, or we might want to pull this diplomat back and do something else with them. Because there's a lot of different things we could be doing right now. You know, actually, I want to do a little bit of a sneaky thing. I'm going to click on Castile here, and I'm going to go down to the diplomatic map mode. Because the same way that we can go to France and click on their diplomatic map mode and see where they have claims, looks like they have a claim on Burgundy. So they eventually want to go to war with Burgundy to take that land, right? That's a land that is of interest to them. They have cores over here, so they want to take back their cores from England. I'm going to click on Castile because I want to see if they're getting any sort of claims on Granada, or if they're getting any claims on Morocco, or any claims on Tlemcen. I want to see what their ambitions are looking like. It looks like for now, Castile's just kind of hanging out. They're not really doing anything. Aragon's not really doing anything. One thing that we can assess, though, too, is who made what alliances, right? Castile, you have allied Navarra, and you've allied Portugal. Now, Navarra is kind of a small nation. I don't even think we talked about Navarra. They're so small, and they're yellow, right? They kind of blend in with Castile, but this is actually a little independent nation right here. For now, at least, Castile might actually have plans to vassalize them diplomatically, because they're such a tiny nation. Large nations can diplomatically vassalize Navarra, basically be like, hey, we're super strong, we'll protect you, you come join our kingdom, right? And that could be a way of integrating Navarra into the kingdom of Castile. But it looks like for the most part, Castile's just kind of hanging out. They're not really getting too many claims. We already have a claim on Granada. It is a little early. It takes a little bit for the AI to kind of do these things, though. But let's go up to speed 3. Let's go up to speed 3. Let's speed things up a little bit. Looks like for the most part, we're moving and grooving here. we're just kind of hanging out. Oh, one thing we wanted to do, right, was to get our dudes to Ceuta. So we can grab these guys, and I think there's a couple different ways we can do it. We can just sort of select and right-click this area. Actually, it does not let us do that because we don't have military access through these areas, right? We can click attach to transports. We landed our transports here, and our troops are in the same province, right? But our transports are docked at the dock, at the port. So we can just attach, and that'll pick up 10,000 troops because we have 10,000 cogs. So that's 1,000 per cog, and we can just move these guys over here and drop them off in Ceuta. Go back and get the other 8,000 and bring them here. Now we're not paying for their morale. That's very important to remember. We're not paying for these guys to be organized and ready for battle. Ooh, Castile actually gave us a gift. Thank you, Castile. Castile's just buttering us up. They're just happy. They're just happy with us. They gave us some money for no particular reason, to be honest. For no particular reason. We'll send our cogs back to hang out with our heavy ships. We're still working on building a heavy ship, right? It's going to be 200 days before that heavy ship is completed. That heavy ship is going to be built in Porto. Let's actually send our navy over here to sort of welcome the heavy ship and just sort of get ready to consolidate those when Porto is ready. Not important, but there you go. Castile, thank you for that gift. That's very kind of you. Ooh, they do have their first claim. They have their first claim against Granada. Of course, they do have a truce with Granada that sort of has them not going to war with Granada until 1448. Now, our truce with Granada is until 1449. So Castile's going to have the first stab at Granada. We have 25 with Morocco. I'm just checking on our progress of our diplomats. 25 spy network with Morocco. We're definitely going to want Tangiers. Definitely going to want Tangiers. So let's make a claim for Tangiers. I just like to click on the province and then click on the Fabricate Claim button. This lets me know for sure that I'm getting the province I want, right? Rather than having to know the name. If I go into this tab right here, hit Fabricate Claim, there's going to be a bunch of provinces here because we have a bunch of eligible provinces that we can fabricate claims on. In fact, we can fabricate claims on any of these 6 provinces here. Fez because it's adjacent to Ceuta, and these 5 provinces here because they're connected via sea tiles, at least, if they're not directly connected. But Tangiers, right? We wanted Tangiers. So we'll click on that. We can go back to our diplomatic mode, and we can see, there we go. We have cause for war. We have a casus belli against Granada and Morocco. We have the flexibility to take advantage of either of these two. Oh, this is really interesting, actually. Morocco has allied Granada, and only Granada. Usually you can sometimes find that Morocco will ally Tlemcen, or they'll ally Tunis, or maybe they'll ally the Ottomans or the Mamluks or someone more powerful. This is really, really good. Granada is very weak. Now, it is going to be a little bit more annoying to think that we have to fight Morocco and Granada at the same time, admittedly, but it's better than having to fight Morocco and Tunis at the same time. Those are much more powerful. That's a much more powerful nation than Granada. Granada is still a pretty weak nation. Looks like we have another event. Now, these events, just again, they're just always popping up. There's cultural unrest. This is triggering mostly because we have unaccepted culture in our country. We have Moroccans living amongst in our country, right? There's cultural unrest here. This is actually going to vastly increase local unrest in Ceuta, vastly, like plus 10%. That's huge, right? Right now there's 2%. If we had 10%, it's going to be 12. That's going to be a big, massive boost that will definitely cause this the rebellion right now really isn't any risk of happening. But if we add this, that'll be a huge chunk, and it will happen. Or what we could do is alternatively, we can give them more autonomy, let them rule themselves. Kind of a tricky decision, actually, because if they did unrest, we probably would be able to take care of it. One thing we can check on here, let's check on this really quick. Let's go to the unrest tab. And the quick way we could do that is by clicking on the provincial unrest banner that's just keeping track of this. It says right here, it actually tells us how big the rebellion is going to be. That's 8,000 Moroccan troops are going to rise up against us in Ceuta. Rebels, basically. Not actual true Moroccan troops, but not part of their military, but just Moroccan people, basically, rebels from Ceuta are going to rise up against whoever we have here to defend against them, right? So if these 8,000, if this rebellion actually happens, which it's saying it's not going to happen for 44 years, it's going to be a long time. Not a big deal here at all. But if it actually happened to be 8,000 troops standing on this province trying to siege this back and trying to give this over to Morocco by winning a little sort of rebellion war type thing, we don't want that to happen, so we would fight these 8,000 with our own troops and just sort of beat them down, essentially, right? 8,000's not that scary. However, I don't know if we want to literally provoke the rebellion. Instead, what we could do is we can give them some local autonomy. We haven't talked about that at all, right? But if we click on the province, we're learning more bits of this as we get context, right? We now know we're going to be raising local autonomy. What does that mean? Well, the autonomy right here is 10%. And what that does is that reduces the tax modifier by 10%, the manpower modifier by 10%, and everything by 10%. If we raise 25% autonomy, we'll actually be raising all those modifiers by an extra 25%. And they're negative modifiers, right? This makes sense. If we give these people more autonomy to govern themselves, we get less in taxes because they keep more of it for themselves. We get less in manpower, we get less in production because they're keeping more of it for themselves, right? They have more autonomy to do with what they want with their own resources and their own people, and allocate the power in the way that they want. The local leaders in this area are controlling the more of the economy, right? So by keeping a low autonomy, we'll actually make more from our provinces. Our provinces are worth more if we have a low autonomy. You can see that these are actually 25% here. That's because there's actually a floor. The nobility is actually preventing it from going below 25%. This is kind of a nuanced thing, but it says that the minimum province autonomy is 25%. That's because the nobility is literally in charge here. They're literally in charge, and they're taking a chunk of the revenue of this province and preventing us from getting that. Now, they give us other benefits, right? Because of this, we can look here, and they can see that there's other green modifiers here, like plus local manpower modifier, and it removes the autonomy for certain aspects, like the manpower and the force limit and stuff like that. So we're getting certain benefits. It's a trade-off. We've specialized this province to be more militaristic, whereas this province here that's controlled by the clergy is specialized to be more tax-based, to actually improve taxes. We actually get more taxes when the clergy are in charge than if they weren't, even with autonomy. This province, though, if we add autonomy here, people are just going to, basically, that's just going to make it so the province is worth less to us. But it might be better than rebellion. So you know what the heck? Let's give them a little bit of autonomy. They're up to 35% because this just slowly decays down. You don't really ever do anything. You can reduce it automatically. It is possible to reduce it automatically by just increasing. It's a trade-off, right? To lower autonomy is to increase unrest, just like that event. You're either sort of going to take unrest or you're going to take autonomy, right? So we can actually raise autonomy to lower unrest, or we can raise unrest to lower autonomy. But alternatively, if we just wait, if we just give it time, right? Over time, we will take more control over this province. This province will become more of our staple to our nation and to our country, and we will have more efficiency at sort of squeezing out power in this region. So over time, what it's saying is current estimate change is 0.125 each month. So every month we're getting a tiny reduction in autonomy. It could literally take 30 years for that to go away, but it will go away eventually, right? It will go away eventually. And guys, I think for the most part, we've unpaused the game. We've gotten really good progress on some of our missions. In fact, we finished one of them. Once this heavy ship comes in, we'll be finished with another one. We are very close to sort of getting England up to 150 relations, which that's something we're trying to do. Although England is getting ravaged right now by France. We're very close to getting Castile up to 150 relations as well. That's one of the missions we're working on. And we have claims on both Grenada and Morocco. So we're posturing ourselves for a good war against those two nations when our king comes of age and can take over. He's 14 years old, so we are very close to potentially going to war with either Grenada or Morocco. This is kind of exciting. We're 1 year away, waiting for our heir to take over the throne so that the Regency will step down and we will be able to go on conquest and declare war. We're still building up spy networks on Morocco and Grenada so we can get additional claims. More claims just mean that it'll be cheaper to take more stuff in war, right? More claims is always a better thing. Always a better thing. Ooh, wait a second. It looks like we have some ships here. I do want to there's something to look at here. But we'll leave that for the next episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I will see you guys in the next episode. We are continuing on as Portugal. Hopefully in the next episode, we might actually declare war and we'll learn about when to declare war, why to declare war, how to declare war, and sort of like the context in terms of evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of our rivals and of our future war opponents and stuff like that. So there's so many things to cover, guys. But the game is running. We are moving. We've progressed a couple years into the game so far already, and we will continue to zoom into the future and expand Portugal into the new age. So thanks everybody for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.